I like this slide in terms of coaching because I imagine this iceberg whereby the results you get, and this can go for corporations or for people, the results that you get are visible, of course, but a very small part of the total effort that you're going to be putting into it. So the results you get depend on your behavior, depend on what you do. You don't do anything, you don't get any results. And results and behavior are visible. Yeah? They can be seen by yourself and others. However, that behavior, which gets you the results, is driven by the bottom part of the iceberg that's invisible. And that's the emotions and the thinking that goes on. So, you know, as coaches, if an organization wants better results, then they need the people in them to change behaviors, and those people are not going to change behaviors unless their thinking and their emotions also change. But because these are invisible, it's not so easy to understand or to be able to influence. And a lot of organizations particularly think that they can grow their results by piling snow on top of the iceberg. And it just doesn't work. If you're going to increase the size of the iceberg, you've got to go to the bottom of it, and you've got to make it bigger all the way around. So again, emotions, thinking, mental models leading to action. This is what we want. This is what we want for ourselves. This is what we want for others. And at every time, as we set our goals, as we think, as we feel, as we express our values, we will set our goals. There will be things that we want, and a goal is something that you want. However, that doesn't necessarily mean to say that you're going to get that, because you may get a different outcome. So I'm going to use the word goal for something that is under your control. You think it through, and it's what you want. But the outcome, what you actually get, is not under your control, however much you may think it through. It's far too complex, depends on far too many other things and far too many other people to be completely under your control. And that's something I think that, well, I've certainly learned in the past few weeks, that as John Lennon said, life is what happens. Was it life is what happens to you when you're attending to something else? And I know that I had lots and lots of plans and goals several weeks ago, all of which have had to be changed because you just don't know what's going to happen. So what mental models then are going to be helpful, and what mental models are not going to be helpful in these sort of situations? Well, here's one I think that can be helpful, very helpful. And certainly in my experience as a coach, it's one of the most helpful ones that you could possibly have. And that's to do with our relationship with our goals. At least in English, we say I, subject, want, verb, whatever it is, my goal. More money, better relationship, new house, new job, whatever it might be, or just a cup of tea, doesn't matter. But we have a relationship with it. And sometimes we don't look at that relationship. We focus, of course, on us. Well, that's what I want, that's what's important, sure. And then we focus on the goal, and there's lots and lots of good stuff, smart goals and everything else that will focus your attention on the goal. But then we forget about, well, how am I relating to it? How am I actually thinking about it? That's going to be extremely important. So here's 3 ways that we can think about our goals, however well structured they may be by SMART or any other type of acronym. We can think about them in terms of acquisition, first of all, on the left. I want to acquire this. I want to achieve this. And that is, when you think about that, the structure there is about I here, okay, want to achieve that goal there. So the relationship opens up a gap between myself and the goal as if it's something that's almost pre-existing, almost formed completely in itself. And it's a matter of me reaching out and getting it, just like me reaching out and getting this cup of water and putting it back. The cup of water exists there. But goals, of course, aren't like that, however much you may try and structure them. So there's that relationship of acquisition, of wanting to achieve something, can separate you from what you want and lead to a lack of flexibility in terms of the process by which you go about getting it. Second relationship would be attraction. And this would come, if you remember that film The Secret that came several years ago, where the main idea was, well, don't try and get things, think in the right way, attract them towards you and they'll come. Well, of course, there's some merit in knowing that the way you think about things is going to affect how and whether you get them. But it's naive, I think, to assume that just because you want to attract something, it's going to come to you. Because that's more passive. Again, it sets you apart from the goal. There it is, sitting out over there, and somehow you have to attract it towards you. Like me trying to attract that cup of water towards me. And it's not going to work. I'm going to have to reach out and get it. So attraction has the same dynamic behind it. It separates you from the goal, puts a distance between you and the goal. It's just a matter of whether it comes to you or you go to it. Now, supposing you were to think about goals as a process of creation, not just a process of creation in terms of what you want, but a process of creation every step of the way, whereby everything you do is part of that creation of the outcome. This puts you as a creator rather than as a consumer. It puts you in a place of being at cause rather than at being at effect. And it means that as you go along, you can feel that you are on a path towards that goal. And then if you get it, fantastic, it's great. If you don't, well, okay, that's fine as well. There's no guarantees, as long as you have learned and developed from that creative process of the journey, because the journey is so important. I really like the metaphor of climbing Mount Everest. Your goal is to get to the top of Mount Everest. Now that's fine. And how long will you spend at the top of Mount Everest? Well, 10, 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes tops. And the last I saw, there was pictures of queues going to the top of Mount Everest. There is just so many people climbing it now. You have to join a queue for the last 100 meters or so. Okay, so yeah, you do it. You get to the top. Great, you've achieved the goal. You come down again. You'll be 20 minutes at the top. How long will you spend actually in the process of going there and in the process of coming down? Months. So you better learn something and enjoy and make sure that your values are expressed, the values that made you want to achieve that, in that journey, not just in the achievement, the final achievement of it. So this mental model of I am creating something of value here, and I am learning in the process. And okay, maybe the outcome will be the same as my goal, maybe it won't, but it will never be wasted.